and happy month of Aphrodite, which technically started Friday, but we're really kicking off today with our practice. For this month, we are going to be using the Sibylline hymn to Aphrodite as our morning devotional prayer. Um, that can be found. Good morning, Angelia. Good morning, Natalie Rose. That prayer can be found. Good morning, YouTube. In the Goddess Temple app under devotion. So if you go to the devotion section of the Goddess Temple app and you click on Aphrodite and April, you will find the prayer that we're going to use today. We are moving into the Vintage Wisdom Oracle today. This is by author Victoria Mosley. Let's look and see. These images look like they are collaged, and I just want to see who collaged them, if Victoria did it or if it was someone else. Okay, yeah, looks like Victoria Mosley did both the montages found. She says this deck was composed of montages that she designed using, and she wanted to avoid anything that was going to be stereotypically New Age. She went to France and met an elderly shopkeeper in a place that sold antique postcards and notions. And he brought to her a collection of Victorian ephemera. And she bought the whole folder of the Victoriana, and she then used that to make the images that we're going to see this month. And then she also wrote the accompanying text. Here is the cover so that if you'd like to get your own copy. And good morning, Violet Willow. You can. I also have a special candle for us to use today. So just get ready for what I'm about to show you. If you're easily offended, close your eyes for the next minute. If you're not easily offended, if you're curious, you can see this candle. So I feel like we need some Dakini energy, some life force energy to come into the world and change things. That's what Dakini energy does. So I have been waiting to use this very suggestive candle. All right, ready? 5, 4, 3, don't say I didn't warn you, 2, 1. Here is this very special candle so that you can see what it is. There you go, everybody. Now we've all gotten a look. And this is the candle that we're going to be starting today for Aphrodite. We also have, I think it'll only go one day, but it's a powerful little candle. That was made, by the way, this candle was made by Magical Misty Candles, Misty Scalise. She makes beautiful candles. We also are going to be putting the image, the temple image of Aphrodite, which was created by Priestess Divana Wolf, onto the altar today. And this image depicts Aphrodite at Heart Lake, which is up in the Siskiyous, which are a smaller mountain range opposite Mount Shasta, basically like across the valley. So there's Mount Shasta and Black Butte, and then the Siskiyous, and up in the Siskiyous there is, it's divine, right? There is a heart-shaped lake. It's called Heart Lake, and the vision that we had for this would be that Aphrodite, accompanied by her doves, is perched on this rocky outcrop above Heart Lake. So that's what you see in this image. And we do sell postcard size of these at my shop. And Though proceeds from those benefit the temple's scholarship fund, and we also you can also get larger sizes made by Divana Wolf at her website, wildempressmagic.com. So now you know. And that's going to go on the altar today. So that's all the introduction to Aphrodite, and may we have sacred spark of joy and pleasure restored to this world that is so full of pain right now. Lighting the candle. Okay. And our prayer. Ethereal, illustrious, laughing queen, born of the sea and lover of the night, mother of longing, all connecting, who joins the world in harmony. All things spring from you, O divine power. The triple fates are ruled by your decree. All the works of craft and love yield to your hand. With a smile, O Aphrodite, you sway the all encircling heavens, the fruitful earth, and the storming oceans. All obey you, all are awed by you, companion of the brumal god, beautiful goddess of marriage, mother of love, lover of the banquet, source of persuasion that grants secret favors, illustrious born, seen and unseen, gentle lover, Lupercal, who smiles upon mortals, prolific, most desired, kind goddess, wielder of the scepter of all the immortals, you bind mortals and every tribe of beasts in magic chains of mad desire. Come, lovely Cyprian, and bless these rites, whether radiant in the heavens or presiding in the temples of Syria, guiding your golden chariot over the sacred floods of Egypt, or dancing on the azure shores by billowing seas with circling choirs of mortals and beauteous nymphs with cerulean eyes, or riding out along the dusty banks renowned of old, or if in Mount Shasta, where your priestesses bring you offerings at Heart Lake, or if in Kypris with your fair mother, where the married women yearly come to praise you, and the pure virgins sing hymns to you and to Adonis. Come, divine union, for you I call with holy, reverent mind. And let's see what is our first message for April from Aphrodite herself. And as some of you know, in the temple, we are working with Aphrodite every full moon this year. This year, the full moons are given to Aphrodite. And so we're exploring the various different and often little known aspects of her in the temple. One of the aspects that people don't know about Aphrodite is like her athleticism and her patronage of sport. One of the largest arenas for sport in the ancient world was in her at her site at Aphrodisias in rural Turkey. It seated 30,000 people. Today's card is expression. Isn't that pretty what Victoria Mosley did? I just love this. Yeah, happy new week. Thanks, Gary. And hi, Andrea. And hi, Nessa. All right, expression. Here is the muse of expression, her face concealed behind a gossamer veil. Her intense gaze and regal headdress are evocative of the veiled Isis, Egyptian goddess of the divine feminine, mother of all things and keeper of nature's secrets. And just a little side note, in the ancient world, there was a Greco-Roman form of Aphrodite known as Isis Aphrodite. That was a syncretism of the two goddesses. I actually keep, because my Isis altar in my home is in another room, I keep the postcard of Isis on Aphrodite's altar so that she's always in here. Throughout history, the veil has been perceived as a drapery of vice, a vesture of sentiment, of religion, and duty. Whatever its function, the mysterious appearance of the veil invites the onlooker to question what is concealed. A profusion of multicolored butterflies rise from the center of the headdress, personifying the spontaneous release of thoughts soaring to the heavens, free from inhibition and worldly constraint. There is a vital place for discretion and self restraint, especially in our words or actions where they could harm others. But to be true to the spirit within requires us to express our authentic selves. Old fears of ridicule, rejection, and rendering ourselves vulnerable can prevent us from taking ownership of our individuality and self expression. Not only can it move us out of alignment with our center, it may block emotional growth if our outward expression does not match our inner reality. Some people measure their creative potential by school performance, even if many years have passed. Experience, however, constantly molds and redefines our relationship to life, which in turn brings new talents to the surface. Therefore, it is illogical to assume that our creative expression will remain the same throughout our lives. This is the beauty of it. We are never too old to excavate hidden talents that have not yet seen the light of day. The presence of the expression card invites you to look closer for any restrictive fears that might veil the glory of your goddess given authentic self expression. Verbal communication is just one aspect of self expression. And when words fail, there are many ways to interact with the world, to find your voice and innovate new ways to do things through the creative arts, the way you dress, or how you relate to others and the world around you. However, you feel moved to respond, be open to new ways of communicating, dare to risk, go forth, and shine. A perfect card, says Natalie Rose. Thank you. Yeah, I think so too. I think it's very interesting that the veil, what the veil represents. As a woman who covers my head for spiritual reasons, I've had a lot of questions over the years about my self-expression. And if I find that covering is stifling, and I actually find that covering is very creative for me. And I also love to see women do their hair all different ways. It's not like I'm against it. It's just that for me, this has been the form of expression that I've undertaken of my religious devotion and also of having a sort of a something in my life that's private, just for the people who know me the most closely. Because when you do things in public, teach or do readings or anything like that, there's so much of yourself that goes out into the world. As a reader, I will often talk about my personal experiences in order to relate to clients and help them feel less alone. Then that means that my story sort of becomes public property, my story of my life. And so having this little aspect of myself where it's just for me and a few very chosen select people is my form of self expression. How about you? What are your forms of self expression? How do you show the world who you are in a sacred and beautiful way? It might be through your clothing or your jewelry, but it also might be through your writing or through service work that you do. I'd be curious to hear more about you and what it is that you do that helps you feel like you're expressing the fullness of yourself in this world. So drop a comment if you'd like to share. I know that over the years of chanting together, several of you have shared with me your art, your poetry, your prayers, and your words. So feel free to share now um, what you do for self expression. I also wanted to just touch on the fact that our self expression is what keeps us from falling into an increasingly plastic culture. We have kind of fallen into a cookie cutter world. And in this cookie cutter world, where, if you go to any number of different cities or even different countries all over the world, you see the same stores, the same big box stores, the same coffee shops, the same everything. Like you can get your caramel latte in Washington, D.C., or in Seattle, Washington, or in Paris, or in Lhasa. It's not like it's unique. So when we live in a world, and of course people like what they like, and it's popular, so it's everywhere. But when that kind of conformity takes over in a culture, sometimes those little bits of personal touch disappear. And I think that Aphrodite helps us to remember to stay true to ourselves, to our uniqueness and individuality, to our unique expression of creativity. At Aphrodisias, in Turkey, Aphrodite was the patron of artists, and she was called upon to help them in shaping their figurines and statues out of the high, high quality of marble that came from the region. Part of the reason why the temple to Aphrodite was built there was because it was not only the breadbasket of Turkey with amazing growing conditions that continue to this day. When I was there last year and was chatting with Mehmet, who was the owner of the lodging where we stayed and the restaurant where we were eating, it's the only ones in town. He was telling me all about his pomegranate trees and olive trees and walnut trees. And we saw so much beauty in the planting. But then when we walked through the temple ruins, the quality of the marble and the quality of the carving was so exquisite. And in fact, there was this one entire wall of carved faces. Each face was completely different, completely unique, adorned with different headdresses, hairstyles, expressions. And as we were looking at them, we thought, did the carvers, in making these, did they carve images of themselves? Did they carve images of people they knew and loved? And we might never know. Some of them were clearly carvings of deities as well, but there was also just such a volume of different faces and expressions. It was so magical. And to the point where the quality of the carving was so good that, like, you could make out little dimples and birthmarks, and how they had gone about doing it was so intricate. So even though none of us, maybe, I don't imagine anyone watching this broadcast today is like a marble carver, we still can express through our arts. And being able to express through our arts is a gift. It is a gift of beauty. And beauty is Aphrodite's gift to our world. Beauty is the balm to sorrow. Beauty is something that can bestir the soul to cease the parade of destruction. Let's tap into that power today and this whole month for the cessation of the parade of destruction. And now I've got some great comments. My self expression is through a spiritual Facebook group that she hosts. Another one says, I love expressing myself through my clothing and flowing clothing and makeup, as well as photography and painting, and many different ways, says Andrea. So we've got quite a few different expressions of creativity. And I know in the temple we have a lot of creative creatives. So today, expression is the path to the beauty that ceases pain. That's our short bit for today, if that's what you were here for. And now let's dive into our full Guanyin practice. We're going to start, as usual, with 3 prostrations before the shrine. And let's take refuge. Namo Guru Be. I take refuge in the inner teacher. Namo Buddhaye. I take refuge in the great mother of compassion. Namo Dharmaye. I take refuge in the wisdom of the ages. Namo Sanghaye. I take refuge in the community of practitioners. And let's set this intention today for somebody who needs this practice. And today I'm holding 2 people. My brother, it's his birthday today, and for him to be well and happy. And for a fellow who reached out to me who I knew in high school, Mike, who has cancer and is going for chemo today. He's in the midst of his chemo, and that's not easy. And then actually, another friend of mine, Heather, is also going for chemo today. So for those 3 beings. And let's recite the Four Immeasurables. May I be a source of loving kindness in this world and all worlds, bringing a generous heart to all my thoughts and doings. May I be a vehicle of compassion in this world and all worlds, ever mindful and aware of the tremendous suffering of others. May I be a brimming vessel of joy in this world and all worlds, delighting in the happiness of others as their suffering is alleviated. May I be a balance point of equanimity in this world and all worlds, seeing all as equals and all as deserving of goodness. Let's make our offerings. Place Aphrodite's card in the shrine. I light this candle as a symbol of the enlightening Dharma way. May it shine brightly for the benefit of all beings. I light this incense as an offering to Guanine, she who hears the cries of the world, mother of all. I could tell it got put there. Yeah, that's better. Omahum. Omahum, 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 Omahum. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and virtual. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time and rejoice in the meditation of all holy and ordinary beings. Please, Guanine, remain until the end of samsaric existence and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of others to the great enlightenment. We are over 600,000 recitations of our mantras toward our million mantra project. Let's add some today. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. And you might recall that this month we're returning to this prayer from Jamyang Kensei Chukyi Lodro by coming back to regularly scheduled prayer. It's the prayer to Yeshet Sogyam. Yingchukdaki somo karchansa dusum kunchim pema jungye ki sangso dipo dechen sogyamar sowa debso chuktun nudrup so. Mother of space, foremost of dakinis, Lady Karchansa, gatherer of the secret treasury of Padmakara, knower of all, past, present, and future, Mother Tsogyal, great bliss queen, to you we pray. Grant us cities, ordinary and supreme. Yingchukdaki somo karchansa, dusum kunchem pema jungye ki, sangso dupo dechen so gyomar, so wa debso chuktun nudrup so. And 108 recitations of Om Mani Padme Hum, sending out our benevolent prayers and energy to Jordan and Mike and Heather. And that prayer, I will get my tongue twister back around it by tomorrow, probably. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Well, this mala had a really good run of it. It's sort of, I go through them. We'll get that one fixed. Let's give thanks for our teachers. May all of my blessed teachers enjoy long, happy, healthy, productive lives and great support for their good works. May all beings benefit from their wisdom. May they enjoy a swift and happy rebirth. And long life prayer for Lamadeichen Yeshiwangmo. Om Sosti. Through the powerful blessings of the immortal Pema Jungye and his consort, may the three secret qualities of the Dakini of supreme bliss, Yeshiwangmo, be utterly stable, and may the light of her activities shine on the lotus groves of the teachings and of beings so that they blossom in radiant splendor. And let's dedicate the merit. May the merit of this practice and all of my activities be of endless benefit to all beings in all realms, beginningless and continuous. May all obstacles be overcome and suffering cease at the sound of liberation. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May we carry the essence of Guanine in our hearts. Namo Guanxin Pusa. And we close with a bow to Guanyin, bow to one another, and a bow to the inner teacher, and wishing everyone a brilliant day of beautiful self-expression and the cessation of all pain and violence in the face of beauty. Be back tomorrow.